Pretty much a bye week for Dennis Dodd. Did not have to work very hard on his latest power rankings. The top 6 remaining the same. And the top 4 reflect the AP poll. Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, 1 through 4. They respectively won their combined games by 212 points. That's 53 points per game they won by on average. All 4 teams are 3-score or more favorites this week as well. Though Lincoln Riley's USC team has a difficult one at Oregon State. USC is number 5. As you see, there's really not much change at all, but there is a new team in the top 10. That would be the Clemson Tigers. They're number 5 in the AP poll, number 10 now in Dennis's power rankings, into the top 10 for the first time. All right, let's get Dennis in here. It was a week where the top teams really flexed their muscles against teams that just did not have a chance. Did we learn anything about the top 6 this week? Anything new anyway?
I think number 1, Michigan. They completed a terrible non-conference slate, outscoring the opposition 166-17. If Hawaii isn't the worst FBS team in the country, UConn might be, and that's the team they beat 59-0 on Saturday. But one of their best running backs and one of the nation's best running backs, Blake Corum, said, "We haven't done anything yet." And I think that's the best place to put it here with Michigan. For me, I don't know where else to put them, but at number 4, I don't know who else you can put up there. They won so convincingly. But it's going to be a tough slog, and it's going to be a tough slog right away with the beginning of the Big Ten season against Wisconsin. Blake Corum went for over 100 yards. They've developed a quarterback. That's probably the biggest development. They got through the quarterback battle/controversy, and the sophomore J.J. McCarthy is going to be there. So I think Michigan is the team to beat for that 4th spot until notice otherwise. Obviously, Ohio State is very, very good. At number 5, USC. I was impressed with the balance over Fresno State and really all season under Lincoln Riley. He's at his best, even though he runs an air raid and balance. They had 2 running backs go over 100 for the first time since 2018. One of those was Travis Dye. And then at the game I was at, it wasn't completely easy this week, Chris. Nebraska at Oklahoma. I think Brent Venables wanted to leave, no doubt, in a long dormant rivalry, which was restored in the return game. 49-14 for OU. The defense is noticeably better than it was against Lincoln Riley. And considering that both the Baylor and Oklahoma State games are at home, I might be ready to declare the Sooners the favorites in the Big 12 right now.
Yeah, Oklahoma, that's always been able to score points. But if you can get Venables in there and start to stop teams every now and then, maybe they have an opportunity to make some noise this season. Now, let's get to Clemson because they're into your top 10 finally. But you've been slow to recognize Clemson as a major contender compared to the AP poll voters. I feel like this week we're really going to learn a lot. They've got the big game against Wake, their first real test of the season, quite honestly.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, much like Michigan's schedule, they had an easy preseason schedule. My big thing in regards to the top 10 was DJ Uiagalelei. Was he going to make progress? They seemingly had everything else. They still don't run the ball very well, but the defense is top-notch. We know that. They only allowed Louisiana Tech 21 rushing yards. But this is 2 in a row now for DJ Uiagalelei in good games. 17 of 29, 221 yards. He rushed the ball a little bit. And I think Dabo Swinney still holds back in the playbook a little bit until he gets into the conference season and see the full effect of DJ, because Brian Bresee, the defensive lineman who's so good, had just lost his sister to brain cancer. This defense is going to be really, really good and really tested now by Sam Hartman of Wake. The Demon Deacons survived Liberty with a 1-point win when Liberty seemingly tied it up late and then went for 2, but Wake survived. So this will be a fun game. I think this game has a chance to be in the 30s for both teams.
Clemson, a heavy favorite, -140. Miami got the doors blown off at Texas A&M, relatively speaking. I mean, Texas, it felt like that game just wasn't in doubt because Miami wasn't able to do anything offensively. Felt like we learned more about what Miami isn't than what A&M is.
Yeah, I think on both sides, but the first take is on Miami. You know, you go through Bethune-Cookman, you go through Southern Miss. They even looked sluggish against Southern Miss in the first half, that 30-7 win last week. But that's the word I keep coming back to against Texas A&M. They just look sluggish in a game where you have to get off to a big start. You have to attack a defense that now I think has some definition at Texas A&M and can carry some places with Max Johnson now the starting quarterback. But they just didn't look like they had any ability to attack. Tyler Van Dyke, Mr. Restrepo, the best receiver they have. But that's not the only reason. Again, no touchdowns. I think they had a field goal blocked. They were not very good, looked sluggish all night, couldn't run the ball. And it really, really showed against an A&M team that only scored 17. But again, I think for Miami, if they're going to challenge, Clemson in the ACC, they're going to have to be a more complete team, and they weren't.
And we had some great finishes on Saturday. When you get into your teens, you see a lot more of a mix-up. Now, App State, they had College Game Day in town, and they screwed around with Troy for a long time, up until the final play of the game, where they get a Hail Mary to win it. And that may change the complexion of the entire season, Dennis, because it's really about that New Year's Six. And now, even though they're not ranked in the AP poll right now, and it's all going to come down to the playoff rankings, they're still in position to get that New Year's Six appearance because of that.
Oh, easily. Yeah, they've beaten A&M, and I just told you how A&M has improved. If they run the table, or even if they don't, if they're the highest-ranked G5 and they go to that New Year's Six. But clearly Saturday, Chris, they were distracted by their accomplishments, the whole game day thing, everything. They shouldn't have been messing around with Troy. They were a big favorite to win that game, and then needed that Hail Mary at the end to win the game. Christian Horn bounced off, I think, a defender, maybe one of his teammates, and looked like an option play around right end for the winning touchdown, which really keeps the season alive if you think about it. The Sun Belt is really, really good. I'm not so sure App State's going to win the Sun Belt, but with the run they're on right now, it looks like it's magic. There's some depth to that conference this year. On a day when Chase Bryce, the quarterback, was not very good. He was overthrowing receivers. He was throwing short. And then in the desperation throw that he had to get, fate intervened and they got it. So another miracle on the mountain there for App State.
And they were the only team of those three Sun Belt teams that made the big noise and the big wins last week. The only team to follow it up with a win this week, Marshall and Georgia State, both losing and disappointing performances. All right, let's put a bow on the top 25 power rankings from Dennis Dodd. We do have a really good matchup between a couple of his teams here in the bottom part of these rankings. Tennessee and Florida. Florida at number 22. Tennessee unbeaten. 3:30 Eastern Time on CBS. Full power rankings from Dennis Dodd on CBSSports.com.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.